And that's just like one of those things that I've had on my foot for a long time. So I was hoping I could just get it lanced off, but then it came out and it actually tried to eat my neighbor. So
Do not piss off the foot manatee.
I've tried not to. I don't know if I didn't give it enough sacrifice. Oh, hey, we're on.
Ooh.
Hey, everybody. Hey, nothing wrong here.
Uh-oh.
Everything's perfectly fine. Welcome.
Welcome to the Snobs podcast.
With your hosts, the scene snob, Michael Kimball.
And the commander and geek himself, Casey Plot.
Holler at your boy. Well, it is a pleasure to be here once again with all you wonderful, fine, fancy folk. Hopefully you survived our first, the pilot, and you've returned for round 2.
We gotta figure out what to call this episode.
The Awakening.
The Awakening. You named it right there. Okay, boom. I like it.
Hopefully we have enough presence of mind to not make the same mistakes we made last week, like me sounding like an idiot, just laughing after everything that was said.
That's gonna be hard. We were always good for that, though.
Yeah, that is.
People always seem to like that.
Yeah, we're big fans.
Yeah,
I like my chuckles.
that's true. Me too. It makes me feel like somebody's in the room.
Yeah, exactly.
A live studio audience.
Bingo. Our own Cosby audience.
Oof.
Yeah, I don't know why I went there.
Oof.
Maybe Cheers?
No, I'm
Should
not
we
taking that
Can't reel
drink.
back.
Keep that drink over there. Anyway, now we're getting dark.
Don't mind the fizzing.
Well, Casey, how was your weekend?
Michael, I had a fantastic weekend. So this was a really crazy busy weekend that started for me about 2 weeks ago when I started building my daughter's costume.
Yeah.
She was a Kyoshi warrior from Avatar: The Last Airbender, Suki to be precise because of the headband. That's how you would know. So, and I only know this because of hours of studying and research. So thank you, interwebs. It went really well. We had a great time. We went to Jellystone out in Luray.
Good one.
And yep, we stay out in the cabins out there and just have a great time with the kids. Kids do a ton of trick-or-treating. There's pumpkin painting. There's tie-dyeing. She got to do all of it, and she had a blast. So that was a lot of fun. And I spent most of my time just prepping that dang costume.
Oh, yeah.
But I tell you, the payoff was great, man. She loved it. She had a blast in it, and the face paint's her favorite part. The face paint, the headband, and the fans. She would have been fine with nothing else, but, you know, got to go big or go home.
The thing I think I like about it the most is that making her, it was a Kyoshi warrior, you said, right?
Yes.
I didn't watch Avatar: The Last Airbender, so I don't know it well, but when I saw the costume, I looked up the pictures, and I'm like, you nailed it. It's great.
Thanks,
for
buddy.
a homemade costume, like, that is a great costume.
Thanks, man.
I think it would be even better than buying the ones that fall apart.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is there's so many out there that fall apart, and all I had to do was buy that pleather from Walmart. The actual, 2 yards of it cost me $13.
And who else is going as Kyoshi warrior?
Yeah, nobody.
Nobody.
And there were like 8 people who recognized her, and the ones that got it were like, "Oh, that's great!" They all like shouted with excitement. So I was like, "All right, cool." And River got way into it when they did that.
Perfect.
She whipped the fans out, started like doing her poses. It was wonderful.
Yeah. Like I mean, my kid wants to go as Drift from Fortnite.
Oh, okay.
I don't know video games that well.
Mm-hmm.
I respect them, and that's your world.
Yep.
So I let you do the talking on them. But I played Fortnite like maybe once or twice, and there's no way I know which characters are who, and who's famous or whatnot. And so he was showing it to me, and I'm like, okay, we can make this.
Yeah.
But they want the costumes.
I know, that's the thing, is the kids want the costumes, and it's so hard because you see some of them, and they're worth it. But then I also remember the costumes we grew up, which were literally the plastic and a mask inside of a cardboard box that you walked by, and there were like 50 options to choose from. And it was the simple stuff. Like even their comic book characters, it's just a simple face mask, and just a simple plastic, like almost feels like a poncho, basically, and locked in every ounce of heat that you could fathom, so it made the night miserable if it was a warm October night.
Oh, God, yeah.
But yeah, all those costumes, man, the prices are outrageous. They have gotten so high, and you're a mark. You're a mark every time you go in. And I'm a mark when I go into those Halloween stores. I know they're gunning for me, and they're usually pretty successful. So,
see, I'm all about, the costumes are cool, but it's kind of like, what can I scare my kids with?
Right, yeah.
Does this Freddy Krueger mask look good, so my kids will, never sleep again?
That's, how extreme is it? Like, I have that scarecrow, and all I want to do is build off that scarecrow mask, because I love the idea of being a terrifying scarecrow.
I don't think I saw your scarecrow costume.
Oh, yeah, I've got a good one.
So I have to see that.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, but it was a great costume, and sounds like a fun weekend. I mean, we've done it before, so like I know Jellystone's a great place to go, especially during Halloween. And they do a great trick-or-treating for the kids and stuff.
And she's at that amazing age where she can just go play on the playground, she can go down, bounce on the bouncies, everything's golden. We're right there. We can see her fine, you know, she's big enough and she's comfortable enough in telling people, you know, get out of my face and running away. So I'm good. Like, that's what I was waiting for. She's reached that point.
It is a nice age, right?
Yep, I love it.
Oh, yeah, because I still have my 3-year-old who is not at that age, and it's like, okay, I'll take you, no problem.
Because you are still the big toy as well. That's the other problem. We are the coolest toy to our kids until they find there are other children out there.
But he's starting to slowly find that, and he's just kind of like, okay, Daddy, leave me alone.
You're not as cool as you once were, Dad.
Yeah, which is fine by me.
Yep, no,
I mean, I still want to be cool. It's like bittersweet. It's like, okay, I get a rest, but fine, have fun. So...
Yeah, it's always that trade-off, man. Say lovey.
Yeah. Well, but no, I mean, that does sound like a great weekend.
How was your weekend, sir?
It was fun, man.
I know you had Psychorama. I saw the pictures. It looks rad. And I also see that there's a new Hellraiser.
Yes, my Hellraiser face.
Your Hellraiser face, of course.
Gotta love the
You now have Ash, Sleepaway Camp. Wait, Ming the Merciless.
Ming the Merciless, yeah.
And Hellraiser.
Pinhead, yeah. So Pinhead, Ming the Merciless, Ash, and Ash from Evil Dead is very important.
Yes, Ash from Evil Dead, yes.
And then, no, I'm sorry, Evil Dead 2. I'm an idiot. I don't know why. That was like right at the beginning. And then Angela from Sleepaway Camp. So it is, and it's the face. So anybody who's a horror fan out there, it's the face.
Well, I'm sure if they're actually watching this on YouTube right now, they'll see one of those pictures scroll by.
Oh, they might, yeah. And you know what? Why don't I take a picture of it and then make sure I put up at this moment what exactly it is I'm talking about. But I will say, hands down, it was a fun time this weekend. So it was a fun time this weekend. So basically, Psycho Cinema, which we talked about in our first episode, is a club we belong to out here. They do at the Alamo Draft House in Winchester, and they show cult films. Like, it can be kung fu movies, like it can be horror movies.
Enter the 36 Chambers. They did what's the other?
The Street Fighter with
the Street Fighter.
Sonny Chiba. They've done so much, and it's not just horror. I mean, mostly it's an emphasis on horror, but they've done so many fun, cool things, and they've got a lot of fun stuff coming up. But they do Psychorama, which is the overnight sleepover, and they do it every 6 months, and you spend all night in the theater watching 6 or 7 movies. And last night was the Monster Mash one, and it was fun.
Oh, and what movies were they?
So I can only name 5 of the 6.
Okay.
Not allowed to promote one, so it's secret.
For real?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Legit.
Right.
You were not. I'm not allowed to say anything about it. It was if you were there, you got to see it.
Ah, okay. Roger that.
And it's a rights issue.
Nope. Understood.
So
completely.
I'm not saying a word.
Gotcha.
Not getting anybody in trouble. Blah blah blah. So it started out with the Manitou.
Okay.
Which has changed my life because the Manitou is a 70s horror movie about a Native American witch doctor growing out of the neck of a woman, and Tony Curtis plays a psychic who has to team up with a current Native American medicine man whom they do not call Native American throughout this entire movie. It is truly a testament of what the times was.
And what do they call him, a savage? Or
okay, maybe truly a testament of better times than when they called Native Americans savages.
Okay, all right, so we're not that far back. Okay.
I mean, they use the term Indian.
Yeah, fair.
Which I am not agreeing to.
Because it's the wrong country.
100%. But at the same time, like, I'm just saying, at the time, in the 70s, that was nomenclature.
Yes, it was.
So, I'm not agreeing with it.
Before we became more woke.
I'm not saying I'm woke. I'm just saying, but you shouldn't. Like, it's wrong is wrong.
Yeah, if it's not right.
Like, you called them Indians because you were geographically stupid, you know? And that's just not how it was. So, like, Native American actually works. you know, or as some like to say, real owners of this land.
Or those land bridge crossers. I mean, depending on how back of the date you want to give
really
credit
going
to.
backwards.
Yeah, well, I mean, the BC era.
Yeah, right. But anyway, it's
Manitou
so
is
it's
about a Native American.
It is a bonkers movie,
Yeah?
dude. It is bonkers. It is out there. I've always seen, because I worked at a few video stores, and it was there. It was in the horror section. And I was always like, what is this about? And I always thought manatee.
Right.
And I don't know why, because I know manatee is different from
So
manitou.
the most deadly sea cow of all.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And after Jaws, how would you really get that? I mean, come on.
oh my God.
It just slowly floats towards you and then lays on you?
Probably.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's actually pretty terrifying underwater. Think about it.
but this movie, like a Manitou is basically, everything has a Manitou.
Okay.
And you can anger that Manitou, or you can appease that Manitou. You know, it's the thing. It's the essence of everything.
Is it like Jobu in Major League?
It's more powerful than Jobu in Major League.
Bro,
You've never
you
seen
better put out
Space
some
Room.
freaking chicken.
Until you see Space Room and lasers, you can't talk.
All right, fair.
You need to watch Manitou before you piss off the technology Manitou.
I don't want
And this
to.
whole show just goes
It
kablooey.
just blows up in our faces. Microphones everywhere.
And now
Skulls.
I realize by saying this and describing it, I'm talking to the hardened cult classic fans
Yes,
that
you
have
are.
seen this movie.
All 7 of them.
Dude, it has Tony Curtis and Burgess Meredith in it.
Whoa.
And I found, like, because the facts that came with it, when they talk about it, they both did it because they were going through divorces and needed the money. And
That's amazing.
It's insane.
I'm surprised Elliot Gold didn't show up.
He might not have been at divorce rate yet, or just finished.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, so like that was the first movie. Second movie, Howling 2. Your sister was a werewolf.
Amazing. Classic. I think I've seen it
really
maybe twice in my life, and I love all Howling things related.
Once, and I remember I watched it because I watched The Howling, and I'm like, well, 2 can't be bad,
It's awful.
and it has Christopher Lee in it.
Yeah.
And little did I know that Christopher Lee absolutely hated this movie and does not want to be credited of ever having been in it.
Oh, wow.
Well, didn't, you know.
Kind of done against his will.
Yeah. And, well, I mean, he agreed, so
Yeah.
that's it. It is what it is. You're in the movie.
You gotta pay.
But, oh my God, was it a fun movie. So those 2 movies were so bonkers and just, it was fun. It started out fun. Then we get Hellraiser.
Ugh. Which, well, Hellraiser being right there. What time is this now? We're like 3 a.m.?
This is, yeah, it's around there. It's
Okay.
like 3 or 4. No, 4.
Oh, wow.
No, was it 4? No, maybe it was around 3.
Okay, but
But
still,
Frankenhooker started at 5.
Frankenhooker?
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Because Hellraiser's, like what I've said before, is always one of my favorites.
Oh,
One of
yeah,
my
yeah,
tops.
absolutely.
But only the first one.
Not one of my favorites.
Yes, exactly, because you're not a big fan of the gore or gruesome. Now,
No, it's
did
just-
seeing it on the big screen change it all?
No, because it's,
Okay.
but again, I have a lot of respect for Hellraiser, just because it's not one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I have respect for a lot of horror movies. Like, I have respect for Psycho and what it did. I have respect for Texas Chainsaw Massacre and what it did. And it's not so much the gore that bothers me, but it's like they're not my go-tos. Like, you have go-tos,
Yeah, that
and
is
that's
fair.
what it is. And
Yeah.
like, Scream is a go-to for me. But
Yeah.
a lot of people may watch that and be like, "This is kind of lame." Like, and I would get that because they don't understand at that time what the movie did and what we were going through as horror fans.
Well, as horror fans, and also Scream is one of those few movies that hit us right in our wheelhouse at that point in high school, at
Exactly.
that point of our lives, where just a lot of that Kevin Williamson, those guys really tied in and knew how to talk to our generation.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly. That's why. Oh, excuse me. But watching that, but Hellraiser never spoke to me. But I was like, it's one of those movies I was like, I have to see this when I was at the video store and stuff. Because I was older when I saw it,
Yeah.
and like when I say older, I was a teenager. I was in high school when I first saw it for the first time. But I didn't know, but I had met Doug Bradley before I saw it.
Get out, really?
Yes, but I knew who Pinhead was.
Yeah, well, because Pinhead's iconic. I
And
mean, you see him always plastered on shows and commercials and stuff.
I never thought about this, but I should preface that I saw Hellraiser 2 before Hellraiser 1 without realizing I didn't see Hellraiser 1. Because I was younger when I saw Hellraiser 2.
Okay.
And there was a TV edit
Oh yeah, which is
And-
always because that was my first experience with the TNT and USA's with all TV ads.
Yes.
So I never had experienced Hellraiser. All I knew was something my mattress could kill me, and that was terrifying. And it wasn't until I was like that mid-teens, like 14, 15, when I sat down and watched all those rated R scary movies uncut, and I went, "Oh wow, Hellraiser
Oh, yeah.
got me. House 2 got me." Like there
Oh,
were
we're
just,
getting there, too.
oh man, there's just certain movies like that just went, "Oh no, this was scary," and now somehow it became more terrifying. Even though I'm older and shouldn't be as messed up about this, like it just
Fair.
it was screwy. But yeah, always love Pinhead, and it's just to me that one of those things that you say resonates with you when you say a movie that really resonated with you. For me, I have that when something scared me in a horror movie.
That's fair.
That's really what sticks with me and resonates with me. So it's like kind of funny because for you, I feel like when you say resonates, it's almost inspired, or you saw something that stuck, got that earworm, and just made you think on it. That was fascinating,
Yes.
kind of thing. That like that's
A good point of that is like 3 posters that I'm putting up that I'm about to acquire. And a lot of people ask, like, why are these movies the ones that you shine? They are not good and they're not the best, but they're the ones where I was introduced to a point where I was like, I must see, I must know this.
yeah.
You know, because I was the most aware when these movies and these franchises came out, and that's Jason Takes Manhattan,
Okay. Yep.
because I lived in Jersey City, New Jersey in '89, so 88, 89. So, and that's, you can throw a stone
Yeah,
to
you're
New
across
York
the way.
City. So
Exactly.
like when they did all of the marketing for that, it was very New York based, and that was huge. Like you saw it, you saw those commercials all the time. I don't know if it was national. I'm sure it was. It was national marketing, but like where I was, you saw posters everywhere. You
Of
saw
course,
it
because
all.
it's big. It's got Manhattan in the title, so they're pushing hard
Oh.
on that. Yeah.
Definitely. Then you have Freddy's Dead: Final Nightmare.
Okay. See, and I'm different on that one. Mine was A New Nightmare, so that was my
That's
first
fair.
one. Yep.
So you are a little
100%
younger
there.
though, so
exactly.
that makes sense. Because it's only a few years after.
Yep. Right.
And but like with Freddy's Dead: Final Nightmare, I knew who these guys were.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's not the first movie I've seen. I saw in these. It was the first one where the marketing was out. I was at that right age of like 8 or 9.
Yeah.
And it just like I'm aware.
Mhm.
Like these are a thing. These are a big thing. And even like Halloween, as much as it's my favorite, the one that made me the most aware in the poster I'll put up with Halloween too. With Halloween, but I'm going to put up with these 3 is Halloween 6.
Oh.
Curse of Michael
Yeah,
Myers.
Curse. Yep.
Because that was like I remember the marketing for that. I remember the old woman talking to the little boy in the trailer, and there's Michael Myers, and I remember that trailer more than I remember Paul Rudd being in the movie.
Yeah, fair. Totally
You know?
fair. Yeah.
I always forget Paul Rudd was in this movie until I watch it, and I'm like, oh, that's right, Paul Rudd did play Tommy Doyle.
How many times do I have to watch Breckin Meyer die in a video game for me to remember that's Breckin Meyer in a freaking Dream Warrior? You know, like that's.
No, that's
oh, sorry.
Final Nightmare.
That's Final Nightmare. Yes.
Yep.
So the Final Nightmare for me was also my Freddy Krueger one that I loved because of that scene, but to have seen uncut all the way through was New Nightmare. That was the one that I watched and was like into it and was like, okay.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I hadn't even seen the first. I hadn't seen First Friday Nightmare on Elm Street. I didn't see the first Friday the 13th. The only horror movie I was introduced to was the first Halloween, because that was my stepdad's favorite.
Oh, yeah.
And then my second one was Amityville Horror, and that was the most terrifying thing I'd ever seen in my life. And I was like 10.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Well, like, you know, like when you're a kid, especially in the 80s and these movies are coming out, like I said, like Friday the 13th Part 8 wasn't the first one I saw. It just resonated with me because that was the marketing that was huge.
Exactly.
At the impressionable age that I was at.
Mhm.
I think before then, like, it would come on TV and you watched what you could.
Yeah,
and,
whatever, you just get what you can. Little scraps of horror that you can pull.
And like 6 came on a lot.
Mm-hmm.
5 was on a lot. 7 was on sometimes.
Child's Play 3 all the
All
time.
the time.
And I love that movie. I
And
don't
I
care.
remember-
I love it. That and Pet Sematary were on for, I swear, like a month straight, back and forth between USA and TNT.
Yes.
I could just flip back and forth.
Dude, yeah, it's funny you mention that because like if I went a step further in picking, like, oh, actually, we should do this at some point. Like, talk about, I guess in the time like present, like which ones were
Already
the
here.
most impressionable for us. Child's Play 3 would be maybe Child's Play 2 because it was so scary to see that doll and everybody had a My Buddy.
Yeah.
Back then.
Yeah.
And, I had one. So, like, when you saw the trailer, but 3 was the one I was most aware of.
Yeah, 3 was the one that was most omnipresent at all times, and especially whenever anyone talks about swapping bullets or shooting tracers or paint at each other, I'm like, no. How about no? I'm not, absolutely not. Especially, it looks like a real bullet? I forget that.
I've seen what they do.
Yeah, I know how
Chucky
this works. Chucky changes them out.
Oh my god.
They go to green rounds and everybody's live.
Dude, that's so funny that you mentioned that, because then as you get older, like the first one, like Scream, of course, the first one was most impressionable.
I think Scream was the one that first resonated with me as a horror movie from my generation that I could get into, followed immediately by I Know What You Did Last Summer.
I agree. I'd take it in a little further, maybe not the first one that was impressionable. I'd say the first one that I felt like was made for me.
Yeah.
Everything else felt like all those other franchises before felt like they were made for my brothers who were older and things like that.
Well, that's one of the things you got to remember. What were you doing back then?
Yeah.
Like in those 70s and early 80s, late 70s, people were going to camps. Like it was a thing.
Yeah.
It was way more common that you got away. You did things outside of your comfort zone. You would go to the city because that was a big trip. Mm-hmm. Now it's people go to the city for work. it's just
Friday 13th, Jason on a boat.
Mm-hmm. Forget that noise.
Jason takes a boat.
Jason takes a boat
to Toronto, or no, Vancouver. No, but so with horror movies, that's what always was like what resonated. A lot of those were the movies that came out between '89 and like '93, '94.
Yeah.
I think it was that time where it was like preteen. It was like preteen, and then preteen. They were like, ooh, these are things I'm not allowed to go see.
Well, because at 9, 10, it's what you're not allowed to go see. It's all about breaking those rules and seeing something a little too much. And then by about 12, 13, it's, okay, now I saw a boob, so I'm in. And then I just saw something really gory happen, and that was cool.
Yep.
It was neat to see that. And then there'd immediately be something terrifying, but you couldn't tell your friends about. And then in your teenage years, it was kind of like, okay, now you're growing. Now what is speaking to you, because how would you get out of that situation with the killer? You start thinking a little more beyond that,
And now you're old and you empathize with the killer. And teenagers are annoying.
There's a lot of times now, like watching I watched Halloween 2018 again, because I really do love that movie. I like what they did a lot.
So well, and I love that they're doing 2 more.
I know, I'm stoked. It's going to be rad. Yeah, but him killing the babysitter. The babysitter is one of my favorite scenes because he kills that babysitter. First of all, she's wearing what they would have in the 70s. Like she's almost a perfect throwback character to murder.
Yeah.
It was really well done. And the little kid that she's babysitting is like, oh, hell no, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, legit, go.
Go, get out of here.
Run.
You can't help
You're going to die, Dave. You're going to die.
But I think the thing that I loved about, to kind of touch down with it on 2018, was it showed it was like, this isn't about Lori.
No.
This wasn't about going after the ones who got you caught. He just wanted to kill.
Yeah.
He was going door to door.
And just killing.
Murdering people. And that babysitter just happened to be on that row.
Yep.
And that's why she died. And it wasn't, so like he liked the fact that these girls were there and that he could kill them. Because I think that that's his prey. That's what he wants. Because remember, he leaves the baby.
Yes, he does leave the baby because that's not what he's looking to kill. Because there's no fear in that for him.
Yeah.
There's no rush in that. But he walks into one lady's house, smashes her head in, grabs a knife, walks into the next lady's house, smashes her face in, stabs her in the throat, is literally walking on the street and sees a girl by herself at the car. The kid runs back inside and he starts walking towards her. The moment the kid runs out, then he's like, oh, found my keys, and they get in the car. He just stops, turns, and goes back into another house.
Yep.
That's just what he does. He's just killing. He doesn't care.
Like when Lori runs into him for the first time, and it's just like, Michael, and like she's been obsessed for all these years.
Exactly.
And he just like rolls out.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, okay, I don't need to eat. I'm going to kill. That's what I want to do.
Yep.
And I love that. I thought that was perfect. After all these years, and having all of these movies that are like, Jamie is the obsession, not Lori is the obsession.
Well, she's my obsession. She's not.
So beautiful. But she is the obsession. And then and even so, it's almost like all those movies were in her head. Like, yeah, I am the obsession. I am what he wants. This is what he would do. He wants me.
Mm-hmm.
And then to turn it around and be like, yeah, he doesn't care about you. But then he has to care about you when he gets brought to the house.
Right.
But that's because he's just a force, and you're in his way.
He's the shape.
He wants to kill you.
I love when you actually realize that he is just the shape. He is nothing else but the pure embodiment of massive movement, evil, and murder.
The way Carpenter meant it.
Exactly. And it was done perfectly. And I love the new Loomis guy who's losing his mind. Like, we must study the evil. And I must get inside of him and understand the joy of killing. He was perfect. He was absolutely perfect. I was like, thank you for giving me a mad scientist. I'm great with having a mad scientist in a John Carpenter film. It's wonderful.
Dude, I can't wait to see what they're going to do with the next two. And it's actually funny that we're getting into the horror because we did both watch a new movie this weekend.
Yes, we did.
We were very fortunate to see, which is Three from Hell.
Three from Hell. So, speaking of things that resonate with us and stick with us, there's one thing that, we kind of bring back into that whole idea that for you it's what's inspiring, for me it's more what's frightening. And that's what really sticks with us. That's what gives us that. This movie, unfortunately for me, it stayed in its lane. It did exactly what I thought it was going to do, and it was a solid film for a Rob Zombie film. So my overall take on it is I think it was exactly what it set out to be, and I think it did it well. And I was totally good with Clint Howard dying.
That's the ice cream man.
He's got to die. I don't bring up the ice cream man again. That movie is the worst thing that's ever been put on film.
Oh my god.
Next to Killer Clowns in Space.
Oh no, Killer Clowns is awesome. I love Killer Clowns. It's so goofy. It's beautifully goofy.
Which is why I want to watch the Banana Splits. I think more than I wanted to see. So. Yeah, more than I wanted to see Three from Hell, but that was the homework assignment. So I was like, well, I'm going to watch this.
Watch the Banana Splits we'll talk about next week. Because I want to get your feelings on it. But Three from Hell, it's the second, in my opinion, it's the second best Rob Zombie movie.
Okay. I mean, that's pretty solid. What are you putting in front of it?
That's not pretty solid.
What would you put in front of it?
Devil's Rejects.
Okay, so you still put Devil's number one. Yeah, I agree.
His best movie. His best written movie.
Yes.
In my opinion, as much as I love Rob Zombie, great musician, and he visually is a beautiful director.
I was going to say, as a director, I really enjoy what he puts on film.
Not just visually, but he pulls out some really cool performances from his actors.
Agreed.
And he surrounds himself with some really cool actors. But he can't write a movie. I'm sorry, he cannot write a movie. He has great ideas, but I think if he aligned himself with somebody who can write the way he likes, the way he wants, and I'm not saying don't be in the writer's room, let him do his own thing. I'm saying give him the treatment, tell him this is what you want, and then let them write it though. Let them form the story, and really try and make it interesting. He would be a tour de force in filmmaking. But he can't get out of his own way.
No, that's very true. And I have to always go back to his Halloween, because I didn't mind the first one.
That's his third best movie.
I liked... To say I liked the first one almost makes me feel like I have to poop on the original one, because there's such a divergence, but there isn't. It's like, it's good. The second one is what kind of ruins it. It ruins his direction with it, because it didn't go anywhere near where it should have. It didn't try to pretend to pay homage to Carpenter. It didn't do anything. It just went right off the rails.
Yeah.
The first one I loved because it had 3 great scenes, and that tension build up with him coming through the walls as she's hiding in the walls was one of my favorite scenes they did, and that's Rob Zombie's directing. That had nothing to do with writing, had nothing to do with that. Now to get there, unfortunately, you have to use a little stretches. You have to.
That's the thing. When you talk about Tarantino, Tarantino is a once-in-a-generation filmmaker.
Agreed.
He can do no wrong, especially when people, and rest in peace, Robert Forster, one of my favorite actors of all time. We can talk about that in a little while, but I just want to touch on his weakest film is probably Jackie Brown.
Okay.
And I dare you, anybody listening, go back and watch that and think, This is a genius movie. It was just coming off the coattails of Pulp Fiction,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why it didn't do as well.
I think if it was before Pulp Fiction, it would have been better. It would have been received
I think it was
better.
perfect the way it is. I think that it was the M. Night Shyamalan effect of like, you made this huge movie, and that's what you are now.
Right.
But he broke that,
Yes.
which I give it to him. Tarantino is genius enough to break it. Now, I'm not in any way, shape, or form saying, like I said, putting down Jackie Brown. I think Jackie Brown is one of his strongest movies. And it's hard because he's made 9, and they're all brilliant.
Yeah. I can't look at one and say it's 100% unequivocally better than the other. I cannot do that. And then I still haven't seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, so it's because I haven't
that
seen
might be
it.
my favorite.
See, that's everybody's been saying. They've been coming out talking about that. You especially with the old timey Hollywood and how
That's
it
my
really
thing.
ties into a
That's
lot
my
of stuff.
jam.
You know, it ties into that perfect realm.
Yeah.
You know, so it's fitting. I get it.
And I love that all of these characters, Luke Perry, Timothy Olyphant, all of them, are playing real actors that were in real westerns that
Right.
really existed. Even like the Rick Dalton character of Leonardo DiCaprio, his FBI episode was the FBI episode that Burt Reynolds was in.
Oh wow.
And he's playing the part Burt Reynolds did. So like, they play, but his universe, it works. It's just perfect.
It's
And-
his universe, and it's a fun, twisted universe. One that Hateful Eight does exist in. One that, you know, everything can fit in. Inglorious Bastards, of course, that's just the world we live in and
Oh,
came
yeah.
out of, you know.
Truly a genius. Truly, and the reason I bring it back, and I want to bring it back to Three from Hell, is that Rob Zombie has created this world too, this universe of his movies, and you know, they don't all connect, but the Firefly universe is a big one, and they all sort of, you could see all of his movies living in the same world, not just those 3. Like 31, you could see this being something. Lords of Salem, you could see all of this stuff existing in one shared universe.
Absolutely.
And I think he does a great job building that. And like I said, his movies look great. They're well acted, and he pulls out great performances. He's got cool dialogue. It all works. It's the story. It's just the story that doesn't work for me. Three from Hell was a fun movie.
Yeah. We
and-
get an almost way of the gun-like scene. I mean, I'm always
Yeah.
a fan of that, and I love that movie. So
Oh,
anytime you
100%.
tie in a way of the gun, even slightly, it's like, yeah, you're going to have a shootout in this place, like basically a Mexican hotel. For starting in the center, okay, yeah, let's do this.
Oh, it was perfect. All of them, all of them in lucha masks, like all the gangster stuff. Like it was cool. It was very cool, stylistic. I can't complain about that. Everything. House of Thousand Corpses looks
yeah.
fargan bad. Like not bad. I meant to say I'm trying not to curse. So like now saying badass, but I don't think that's a curse.
No,
I think
badass
that's
words.
bad.
Yeah.
So like
If it can get by a network,
badass.
let's do that. If it gets by the network, we can do it.
That's fair. But but the story is like, alright. It's just like, you're just trying to show a bunch of horrible stuff, like, and you have all these cool characters, but it's like,
And the Firefly universe for me is understandable, and it fits because it's very much so that natural born killers, that Tarantino-esque killer style.
Yeah.
Someone that Tarantino would have written. I feel like these are characters who could be written in that style of universe.
Yeah.
Rob Zombie has taken it and made it his own, and I'm very happy and comfortable with his universe. I'm cool inside of it. Like, I get the idea inside of it. They did a great job, once again, promoting and maintaining the Firefly family and doing a good job of pressing them forward. But overall, it's just, once I watch it a couple times, it's not a universe I need to revisit. And I think that's where its weakness comes for me, is rewatchability for me is not there. It's I will watch that. I will watch 3 Tarantino movies to every one of these movies annually. You know, it's just the way it is for me. It's not that I'm not that roped into it. And I'll need to watch this at least 2 more times to fully absorb it all and decide exactly if I like it or hate it. But thus far, it's the same thing that Devil's Rejects was for me. Everyone loved that movie. And I respected that movie. I didn't like it until a year after it came out. Like, it took me a whole year and almost 3 full viewings to be like, oh no, I do like this movie. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. Like,
and
it's just...
that's what I think it is. Like, and I've seen a couple of them now to try and get to put it over. Like, I was never going to watch Lord of Salem because I don't really care about witches.
Right.
That's just not my jam. But what turned me on that was season 3 of American Horror Story.
Oh God,
and,
so good.
And Coven is my favorite. Still my
It's
favorite.
still
And I don't like witches, and that's my favorite. And I still think that's great. I'm taking 1984 now, just for the silliness vibe. But
Yeah, I haven't watched it. I haven't started it yet. I'm actually still back on Hotel, but I might.
that's fair.
I mean,
Well, the nice part is you can skip all around.
yeah,
but,
exactly.
But when it comes to Rob Zombie's movies, like I went and watched Lord of Salem, and I'm like, it's just not a good movie. It's a cool concept.
Right.
It's got cool characters. It's got a cool vibe. It's got good performances. But I don't dig it. Like, I'm just like, but the story isn't intriguing to me. I'm like, why? I'm just tired. Why? I don't care.
That's my thing, is it's not enough to grab me in. I have to wonder, what are we waiting for? What's the next move? And you're kind of moving along with them. So this one, very much so, when they're sitting in the hotel figuring out what's the next thing to do, I was legitimately sitting there going, do I want to finish watching this? And then when they came up with Mexico, I was like, I mean, yeah, we'll see what it's going to do.
How is that not your first?
How did you not already
choice?
have that plan? Like,
Why did your loose cannon have to go and kill a dude?
right?
And then you're just like, okay, we gotta go.
Yeah,
Like,
it's just...
it's, for me, it's, I'm like, I don't know, yeah, like, it's just, that's the story points that I'm just kind of like, come on, you do so much better if you just had a writer there with you, taking everything that you said and making a good through line story through it. You know, I'm going to get you from A to B. It's going to make sense, but we're going to add your beats. You know, as long as you're willing to give up some things that don't work.
Yeah, and that's, I think, a big problem is the change in those characters that would require that is too much at this point to change that universe if this is your focus.
Yeah.
Those three, that's what they are. That's what you're going to get. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So it's logically the next progression. I see it. I get it. And I understand people who love this series. I get people who love Rob Zombie. I totally understand it. And I get people who love these movies. And Lord of Salem. And, you know, they like Rob Zombie's Halloween.
Yep.
Okay, totally fair. I get it. It's just not my cup of tea. When you get to the end of the day, everything to me averages out to a 6.
But
There's, out of 10, all of his movies average out to 6 by the end of it.
Yeah.
And I just go, okay.
But I like how you said average. Like, for me, I think it's about a 5, because there are some that are just like, I'm out. Like,
There's enough great gore scenes that I can go with it. But I'm a Hellraiser guy, so you know that works for me. So I'm cool
again,
with it.
I don't mind the gore if it makes sense. And, like, his movies, the gore makes sense.
Absolutely.
So I'm cool
Yeah.
with it. Like, Hellraiser, it makes sense.
Yeah.
That's why I will watch it. But I think that Hellraiser is the type of movie that if you've seen it once or twice in your life, if you're not a hardened, true, like, Hellraiser is my franchise, I need to watch it.
Right.
But if you're a horror fan, if you've seen it once or twice, you're good.
That is fair. You know what? As a horror fan, I 100% agree with you. As a Clive Barker fan, that's where I come in with, like, the heavy part, because I love Nightbreed. Nightbreed is like one of my all-time favorite movies, and I tell no one about that except here on this podcast, because no one can judge me through a computer. So,
Well, they can judge you through the computer. Technology Manitou is going to bite you back.
but that's I love Clive Barker, so of course I have a skew the same way people who love Rob Zombie have a skew.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why I get it. I totally will not put it down, because believe me, I tried to watch some other Hellraiser movies. They suck.
Yeah.
They're not good. They're just like
No, I get it.
like you say, they're gore porn. And that's what they are, and I'm not a fan of that. I don't like it. I don't need to see sludgy, sloopy, sloppy, bleh, you know, that's what they want to show you. Fluids. It's not good.
I think
Like,
it's not for me, but
yeah.
But like like you're saying with Rob Zombie, like, yeah, I get there's hard fans, but they have to accept the fact that, like, the stories just aren't that good.
Yeah.
Like, but you can still like the movie. Like I said, I'll still watch certain movies. You know, if Halloween, his Halloween is on TV, I'll leave it on.
Of course.
Not that piece
Won't
of
seek it
garbage,
out. No,
Halloween
too.
2,
No.
but Halloween 1, I will watch it. I'll leave it on. I'm like, it's not a bad movie.
It's not.
And that actually probably has the best story out of all of them, because he took it from, which is funny because he took it from Carpenter.
Yeah, yeah.
And all he did was revisit. I didn't need a backstory for Michael Myers. I like the fact that, but in his universe, this Michael Myers has a backstory. This is who he was, and I'm cool seeing it.
And at the same token, I could see the Firefly family in this Michael Myers universe.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So Rob Zombie still has his fingerprint properly, the way Tarantino does, the way Clive Barker, Stephen King. Everybody has their worlds.
Yes.
And I dig that. And that's why I am happy about Three from Hell. And I would recommend anyone who has seen 31 and Devil's Rejects, House of a Thousand Corpses, go watch it. Of course it's worth
Yeah,
it.
it does get a review for me to go see it.
Yes.
Especially if you're a fan.
Yes.
But it's just it's more just barking that like it's just another movie he made that didn't have a great story.
Right.
But it's still cool. Like I said, it's still like filmmakers can learn by watching Rob Zombie and how he does things.
His shootouts are phenomenal. His shootouts are so good because he does that abrupt up close shootout, and I like that because to me it's a little more realistic. You know, it's that little more of, oh crap, it's in your face right now, trigger's pulled. You know, this is how it is. It is terrifying and fast and rapid. And it's cool. I dig that.
I just wish you'd stop going back to this pool. You ended it really nicely. Like, you did it again and it was a hit.
Yeah.
And you went back and you're like, there's more I want to tell about these characters.
Yes.
And that's great. But it didn't. Like, it worked that time. I wish you didn't go. First of all, because of Sid Haig, rest in peace, just passed away.
R.I.P. Fantastic.
Huge fan.
Fantastic.
Man, Robert Forster and Sid Haig. These are these are monumental actors in the cult world.
Yeah.
And they're both gone.
Dude, Robert Forster was fantastic. I saw him again, was like, oh my gosh, I used to love his voice. He had one of those voices you try to use and you do the impression of.
Oh my god, he was great.
He was great, but he had a deeper temper than that, sorry.
No, I want to get to him, but I want to finish.
Yes.
I want to finish.
Okay, we'll wrap up Zombie here.
Yeah, well, just for me to wrap up on my end, I just want to say I think people should see it again. Going to see a Rob Zombie movie, especially if you're a filmmaker, you're going to get a masterclass in how to make a movie look.
And it's always a good experience. He does a good experience. He gives you a good movie-going experience. It is worth it. You never feel like you wasted your money. Yeah. I haven't personally. You know, I've done a lot. Halloween 2 was I don't know, kerfuffle of mistakes. Really, I can't put all that on him. But I
don't put it all on him. But I do say that I wish he would team up with a writer he really likes, a really well-adjusted writer that he likes, and I wish they would just team up and knock it out of the park every time, because he can do it. I know he can do it. He's that good of a filmmaker. You can't be that good of a filmmaker in all areas, and you're going to suffer in one, and it's the writing. And so just team up with somebody who is a well-crafted writer who will just get you from point A to point B with your ideas. And there are people out there you can do that with, and I just wish he would do that. And with that being said, I did not. The only thing with 3 from Hell was you could have told this story with new characters and had those same 3 actors playing those new characters. Yeah. I don't think you need to go back to the pool for it.
That's fair. I'm going to agree to disagree with you on that. I'm happy they went back to the pool. I think it was a good way to give a final little wrap up to everybody. It timed well to give a nod to Sid Haig, even though we didn't know we were going to need it or want it, and then we got it and went, oh wow, that was important. That was really big that he got to do that. You know, his little 15, 20 minutes was fantastic. I love it.
It's beautiful.
Really, really fantastic. And then they even get back into it. Like Baby and Otis at one point have a talk. Yeah. And they bring that up, and that was a beautiful scene. So overall, I say definitely worth a view. Rob Zombie is good as much as you like Rob Zombie. That is how you will gauge and rate this movie. Once again, I give it a 6.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with. I'll go up for a 6 for this because there was some really cool stylistic stuff I liked about it, and but I will say this: you are the commander in geek, so that makes perfect sense. But I am the scene snob, so I will say this: that ending of Devil's Rejects is too beautiful to make another movie with these characters.
Well, look, as the commander in geek, I only supersede because it gave us up to this 3rd movie. But as a scene snob, I 100% agree that ending to Devil's Rejects never should have been touched.
Yeah.
I can absolutely 100% agree with that because Devil's Rejects was an 8 to a 9, and because of this movie coming out, it drops it almost half a point, just because they survived that hail of bullets. It's like, come on.
Can I just say,
come on.
Poor Psychorama.
Why?
We segued so hard and just kept going. It was like, yeah, we'll get to Frankenhooker later. But long story short, there, I bowed out early.
Oh, did you?
I was so tired.
Okay, so did you? So
hard.
Did you finish Frankenhooker, or did you finish? Yeah, you finished in Frankenhooker.
That was my last.
Okay, yeah. Was it good?
Frankenhooker?
Yeah, ridiculous. And ridiculous. It sounds like it should be. Cool.
But then I didn't stay for the secret film, which I knew what it was and I've seen it a ton of times. And then House was the last movie.
Oh yeah.
Which
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good movie, and it's a solid ending, I think.
Oh yeah, for your Monster Mash, I agree.
I wish I stayed the whole time.
House is one of my favorites, but House 2 supersedes. Once again, the fear factor in House 2 got me way more than House 1.
It's so weird that House 2 scared you.
Oh my god.
It's so weird.
Because when obviously, watching it as I'm older now, I'm like, House 2 is awful. Like, it's just so disjointed. There's so much ridiculousness to it. And House 1 is really good at being disjointed and ridiculous, but I feel like House 2 goes a little further. And they just stretch the reality a little bit more. I mean, when you can break through the wall of your tub and wind up somewhere. Well, when you break through the wall of your tub and wind up somewhere doing a sacrifice? There's a Mayan sacrifice going on. Come on, man. That's what makes it. And also, let's not forget in House 2, we have I lived in a house where the foot of my bed was at the basement, or at the attic door.
Really?
Yes.
That's horrifying.
The bed, my foot.
Was there a door, though?
3 feet, a door.
Okay, so there's a door at least.
Oh, yeah. No.
It wasn't like there's the door off the hinges
No,
and there's
God.
stairs to the
But you open it up, and there's just a little, looks like a wall. It's just a tiny closet.
Paint the picture.
So you open that door, and there's about 3 feet forward, and that's all unfinished wood.
Ooh,
and that goes into unfinished steps directly to your right that, Mike, you wouldn't be able to fit on.
Was it servants' quarters?
Yes. Might as well have been. It was tiny.
Oh, farmhouse.
Farmhouse, man. No, not quite like that. But it's servant style. I mean, it was just kind of that tiny access where you could basically...
when I say that, no, I don't... Because, like, there were farmhouses...
Oh, yeah, no, it wasn't like that.
servants' quarters.
No. This one was just a straight attic. Just an unfinished attic.
Oh, okay.
So, but unfinished attic that has the creepy... you have the pallets of plywood. And then you can only walk out so far before you could potentially fall right to your death. Not really your death, but fall through the roof. Through the ceiling, rather. So... yeah, terrifying place, especially when you're younger.
Welcome to Connecticut.
Yeah, I mean
everything is haunted.
Yeah, everything is haunted. I mean, there was a couple places right down the street that were all haunted. This is terrifying. And a lot of murders there, lots of murders there, because there's not much to do in old CT.
Maybe that's why you're so afraid of horror movies, and I'm not so much.
Right.
Because I grew up in the ghetto.
Yeah.
And you grew up in like Hauntedville, USA.
Literally, where everything is haunted because everything has a story and no one ever goes back to it. Most of these houses that had the haunted story remained abandoned. That's the thing. You have to remember when we walked up to these places, there was a story about them. No one had moved in to take care of them. There were families that either died or families that were like, we want nothing to do with those people, and they just left.
Dude.
I mean, Connecticut has a bunch of schools, jails, amusement theme parks that are all just abandoned. Everything in Connecticut gets abandoned. It's horrifying.
That's so crazy.
It's really creepy, man. And there's farms, and there's always weird lights in the sky. And I was right next to a waterfalls and a bridge and a dam, so who knew what was happening? Not to mention, it was like Jersey, and that every warehouse-like place we had, there at least one window was out. So,
there isn't only one window in Jersey. They're all out. Exactly. They're still like you work in them. Every Bruce Springsteen song paints the perfect picture of what New Jersey looks like for me.
Right.
And it was just like, okay, like this is real. The scrap metal yards.
Right next to the freaking...
Right next to the
strip clubs.
Strip clubs. Oh my god. That one's not even a strip club. That one's a go-go bar.
Yeah, that was a go-go bar. You were saying, which is even better because I want to go see a go-go bar. That would be fascinating to me.
No, you don't.
Yeah, yes, I do.
Yeah, it's so weird. I remember the first time I ever went into a go-go bar. This is a geek podcast or whatever.
Yeah.
First time I went over to... I was a geek.
Yes. See?
And I turned like 18 or something. You could go in at that point. And you just sit there, and they're dancing in like bathing suits,
right?
And they're just like, "Hey, baby, you want to put your dollar here?" And I'm just like, "No." I feels weird. It does. I was like, I look at my friend. I'm like, "We gotta go."
I would immediately be like, "Well, like the first time I went, like, well, what do I get?"
That's what I mean. I'm like, are you gonna get me a drink? Like, what's going on? Are you a bar? Because you're sitting at the bar, and that's where they're dancing. Some are on the stage and such. Right. But for the most part, like if you're at a strip club and they're naked, You're just kind of like, I know where I am.
Yeah, you know exactly what you're there for. When you give $1, it's because you have a show.
Yeah, this is like, yeah, it's a show, but it's like the bar mitzvah. If strip clubs are like the weddings, I'm using a terrible metaphor here.
No, but this is great. Go with it.
I'm gonna roll. So, if strip clubs are like a wedding event,
Yes.
level, and trust me, I'm talking like the high end strip clubs.
Oh yeah.
You know, because sometimes you get some, back of the barn weddings, and that's fine. But like,
ain't nothing like a couple double wides together. The old foxy lady.
There you go. Like then, such a bad analogy.
I'm just waiting to see how it goes.
Go-go bars are like the Sweet 16. Oh my God, it's such a bad analogy. I don't want to know.
Don't finish
do
it.
Sweet 16.
Nope. Kids see it? No.
A graduation party? Would that make it less like a high school graduation party?
Right.
Like that? Would that make it less weird?
I don't know at this point.
It's so
I'm not
weird.
Sure.
I want to get off of this topic.
Yeah.
We're doing a Mike Kimmel segue.
Here we go. So if that was like the AAA.
Oh no, I don't even want to.
Single A.
No, I don't even want to keep going.
All right, fair enough. And in earlier news,
all I'm saying is there's scrap yards next to the go-go bars in Jersey.
That's fair, and I am still excited to go check them out because there's nothing better than walking in and laughing.
Yes,
it is the best medicine to sometimes just go in and go, well, I'm not here.
Yeah, that's fair. I will say
not putting down the money anyone makes doing whatever the heck they have to or want to do. No, you go and have fun doing it. Just not my cup of tea.
No, 100% agree.
Thank you for doing it for me.
I will say this though. New trailers came out this week.
Yes.
We got Dr. Dolittle today.
So I saw but did not watch the trailer. Like I just saw the headline with Dr. Dolittle with Robert Downey Jr. Really?
I wonder if he is.
Is he going Eddie Murphy route?
Well, if he's like a Victorian era like
Darwin
lover, like because like you had Sherlock, you have this, and it's like it's very similar in vein. Like whereas Sherlock is more actiony because he's he's outside. But this is actiony.
This seems pretty actiony, yeah.
Pirates in it, but it just seems very similar. And I feel like every movie he goes to after, when he's not doing Iron Man, he's playing something Victorian era. Which is cool. Been. He can do it. He pulls it off.
It has been a lot. I mean, there was the one movie he did with Jamie Foxx that I was a big fan of. One of the few that he has done of A Common Normal Time.
Yep.
What was the name of that? The one where he plays Jamie Foxx is a famous cellist who loses his mind and like beats the crap out of him.
What is that called? Oh my God.
Anywho, that's one of the movies that I'm a big fan of his that was outside of that realm. But beside that, all I watched with Robert Downey Jr. is basically either him when he was coked out or Iron Man. That's about it. I mean, Sherlock Holmes floats in every once in a while, but I'm still such a Sherlock BBC fan that
it's still worth it.
I mean, it is. Oh, it absolutely is. Game of Shadows is fantastic, and I love his ending with Moriarty. I mean, he's great.
100%.
It's fantastic. I just love the other Sherlock too, and I love that Martin Freeman as much as Jude Law. Like they all balance out for me.
Well, okay, so Doolittle basically doesn't give you too much. He talks to animals,
right?
So he can. He's kind of quirky for that.
It looked and felt like a Rudyard Kipling adventure.
Yes, yes, that works. Yeah. That works. That's
like Swiss Family Doolittle.
And it seems like they just have to go on this task, and who knows what it's for? They don't really tell you. But yeah, that's a solid comparison. I like that. I will say, Jungle Cruise looks kind of cool.
Okay, Jungle Cruise.
That's the one with The Rock and Emily Blunt.
Oh,
based on Jungle Cruise ride in Disney.
Yes.
And it's very African Queenish. I'm not 100% sure where it takes place. It might take place in the Amazon or whatever, but it's like The Mummy, almost. Yep. Like in the same vein as she is this kind of snooty, almost snobbish, if you will.
Bit of a snob.
Not a scene snob, but a snob.
Nope, just a snob. Just a standard old snob.
Yeah, she's like an Indiana Jones type, but not if Indiana Jones didn't fight or
less adventure-y.
But no, as adventure-y. No, let's just stick with the Mummy. It's basically like that.
Yeah.
Rachel Weisz's character.
Rachel Weisz's character.
You know, where she kind of gets into things, but it's like because she's trying to procure stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
And then she has to go up I'm guessing the Amazon River.
Would seem right.
Again, I'm not sure whether this takes place in Africa or takes place in South America. I should look that up. But
Yeah, it's more fun to guess.
He's a gimmick guy. He runs a boat tour. And this is back in the day. This is Victorian era.
Mm-hmm.
So The Rock runs a boat tour, the Jungle Cruise, where all the stuff that's in the ride he's doing, he's setting it up.
Awesome, okay.
You know, and
the huckster kind of deal.
giving everybody like this adventurous ride
Mm-hmm.
that's still kind of broken down.
Mm-hmm.
And then she hires him to take her up wherever she needs to go. And they get into this adventure. And he's an adventurous dude. You can't hide The Rock. You can't hide The Rock behind being like, well, he's not that adventurous. Like,
Well, they hid
Yes,
him
he
perfectly in Race to Witch Mountain.
they did not. In any way, shape, or form.
No, he's straight up 100% adventurer in that movie.
I will say...
I did like him in Jumanji, and I'm super excited we get a Jumanji 2. Don't even care that it's the same trope. I'm all about it. They want to go with it. They can roll with that forever.
Yes, I'm in.
Yes,
they built such a cool universe
Yep.
that I really dig, and they got everybody back for it.
And if we have the idea of The Rock as a... He's probably, if anything in this movie, from my very limited knowledge of it and the fact that I've seen almost nothing of it, I'm definitely going to create something out of completely left field and say he's a little bit of Bogart from African Queen.
that's what I mean. Yeah, he's dressed just like him.
Probably a little bit of John Voight from Anaconda.
No, I didn't get that vibe.
No?
I didn't get that
Not feeling that? Because that's exactly what I'm guessing it's going to be.
No, Boy was such a bad character.
He was an amazing character. He was the best with that horrible accent. With that, I mean, you couldn't even tell if they were trying to dye his skin or not. Like, was
he Cajun in it?
Yeah, I
don't know.
I don't know.
Oh,
Like Cajun and Portuguese and Brazilian. He was a couple things.
I don't
Maybe
think he knew what
Yeah,
he was. I think he was just like, all right, I'll use this dialect.
Please, nondescript.
Oh my god, it's such
Yeah.
that movie
No, that movie I actually absolutely despise.
with not famous Owen Wilson in it.
Not famous J-Lo.
She got pretty famous.
I mean, unfortunately, that was one of her big Ice Cube.
yes, that is fair. That was one of her big ones.
That was one of her big ones.
Propelled her.
That was
Ice
John
Cube.
Voight's. Man, that was John Voight's height too. John Voight had just come off doing, or was getting ready to do the FDR. He had just done, I think, FDR for Pearl Harbor, which I loved.
Did he? No, that was before Pearl Harbor. Pearl Harbor was 2000, 99, 2000.
Oh yeah, I guess Anaconda was '96. Yeah, that was J-Lo was still.
This was before Out of Sight.
Yeah,
Out of
yeah,
Sight was
yes,
like the one
that
that
was
really
the one.
like
Yeah,
took her to,
because of Clooney, of course, and even Clooney vehicle
She
at
was
that
good in
point.
that,
Yeah.
though.
Oh, she's great in it. Clooney
Uh-huh.
gave her the push though.
Yeah.
Clooney's a buzz. But yeah, she that was J-Lo's original face, I think, in Anaconda too, like all original body parts. So that was long time ago.
Selena's what really propelled her
It
to a
did.
known name.
Yeah, well, that was right post Fly Girls. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And then I think Anaconda was like, okay, you can be blockbusters.
yeah,
You know, like we can push you towards that. And then, but Out of Sight's what did it for her. 'cause
yeah.
that
Out of
was,
Sight
like,
was.
big
I
rating.
remember Out of Sight all over like Entertainment Tonight, and Access Hollywood.
Another trailer that came out was Charlie's Angels.
Yes, Charlie's Angels. It looks like another Charlie's Angels movie.
Thank you for saying that, because that is how I feel. I am not interested or invested in this at all. I wasn't really interested or invested in the other Charlie's Angels. And it has nothing to do with women in power or anything
Not at
like
all.
that.
No.
I'm just don't
Look,
care.
my sister loves the Charlie's Angels movies, and go more power to her. I
Yeah.
have no concern. I don't care. It's not a big deal, but it doesn't mean I put them down. It's one of those other movies where I just go, okay, cool.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with Rob Zombie movies. All right, cool. I know what it's going to be. I know it's going to
That's
be
fair.
fine. It'll be entertaining, and if I choose
I
to
don't
watch
think-
it, I'm not going to claw my eyes out. But it's not something I'm rushing to see.
That's where you and I disagree. I don't think they were entertaining at all. Like
Really?
No, they were not. Like
Really?
I just the other Charlie's Angels movies.
Yeah,
Oh.
Full Throttle made me chuckle.
I mean, there were scenes in it. You're kind of
Yeah.
like, all right, whatever.
But I have a thing against Drew Barrymore anyway. I've just
Yeah,
never
you're
been
weird.
a big fan of
You're
hers.
great.
I mean, she's all right.
And she's getting better and better as she gets older.
She's all right. I'm just happy she didn't mess up Fever Pitch.
They all seem misplaced.
Well, that's the thing is they do. Charlize, went way off the reservation there.
Way
Let's
off.
everyone calm down. Cameron Diaz is the only one to me who fits the role, and she's the one that they made
At that time, yeah.
and she's the one I feel like they made goofier than need to be.
Yeah, but I think this movie, what bothers me the most is, and just to, I get it, another guy commenting on female-driven action movies, but like you have this certain type. That's why Captain Marvel didn't work for me, is because it's like this. It's like that hokey action movie that just didn't work for me. It wasn't even that comic booky for me. It was just like it's trying too hard to be something that the '90s had with their female-driven action movies. And don't get me wrong, I can go on and on and on about male-driven action movies.
Oh, of course.
But this just in tune with the
just
new movie
with
coming out.
Charlie. Yeah,
It seems like this new Charlie's Angels is the same way. But then you have movies like Atomic Blonde.
which is phenomenal.
You know, or
that's one of
things
the
like that.
coolest movies with the Russian spin and that whole
And I'm just
'80s
like-
era of like Russian spy games and everything. God, I love that stuff.
It's awesome.
It's
and,
amazing. Even Red Sparrow. I thought Red Sparrow was great.
and even like everything I'm hearing about Black Widow.
Oh yes.
Like here you go, a female-driven Marvel action movie,
Yep.
and it's going to be legit.
Yeah. I mean, I personally loved Captain Marvel. I think it fit really well, played well, and it plugged where it needed to plug well, and we got to see Nick Fury kind of be fun. So I think it did a lot of things.
But then I take that, and I take Captain Marvel, and I'm like, it reminds me of the whole Charlie's Angels movies. It
Mhm.
reminds me of this new one coming out. It reminds me of those types of movies.
They're shoving it
and
a
then
little
you
hard,
have
yeah.
Wonder Woman, which is like was on a complete different level within itself. You know me, I love DC
Mhm.
Comics,
Absolutely.
but I gave up on the movies.
Of course.
You
Why
know,
wouldn't
like,
you?
I watch them when they
Dawn
come
vs.
out.
Justice is just.
I'll rent them or whatever when they come out, or when they come out on HBO or whatever. But I don't care. But Wonder Woman, I'll be there for the second one.
Yep.
Because that first one was so good.
It was.
And it was a perfect action movie, let alone female-driven action movie. Like it was a perfect action movie.
It was a great action movie. We got a great backstory of a DC character we all know and love. We got a character, a lead actress who can play it perfectly, who was able to play that Diana very well. And that young Diana, we get to see kind of fall into our world.
Yeah.
Which is exciting, and that's what we want to see. That fish out of water story, but
Absolutely.
with someone who can demolish everything in her path, which is great.
But it makes sense. But then you go back and you look at it and you're like, okay, but that movie made sense. That movie didn't try to say, this is Wonder Woman. This is a comic book movie. This is a movie for girls. That movie just said, we're an action movie.
Yep.
We're a comic book movie. And we're taking it seriously.
It comfortably
And it
wore
took
many
it
hats.
seriously.
It comfortably wore many hats, which for me, Aquaman did too.
Oh my God!
No,
Don't
no,
even get me started.
no,
I will fight
buddy.
you on Aquaman.
Aquaman was great,
It was
especially
terrible.
if you're a woman who just wants to stare at Jason Momoa for 45 minutes.
All right,
Because that's
then I'll give you
45
that.
minutes of that movie
That
that was just Jason Momoa being Aqua Bro.
Dude, there had to be that whole middle section because I was interested in the beginning. Then that whole middle section, that second act,
Yep.
I was like, did they take it away from him for this section?
It feels like that writing just changed abruptly. Yeah.
And the look.
Oh, well, see, the look was okay, but it was that underwater look that was hard to pull
No,
off.
the middle
You don't
section
think?
that was not underwater.
Oh, okay.
It did
I
not
know what you're
seem
talking
in
about.
place
Yeah,
there
yeah.
because then it got back to it. And then there was a lot of plot holes
Yep.
with everything that was going on
Yeah.
because it just seemed so out of place.
Like his
I don't-
trident that he was able to get, like what? It was
I don't-
almost. It was supposed to be a main story, then became a side story, and then all of a sudden he just had it.
It was so weird.
And Manta with his Black Manta was cool.
Black Manta was really cool.
Black Manta was cool, man.
That actor, oh my God, why am I drawing a blank?
Peter.
He was great.
Oh, what is his name? He's the Conjuring guy.
What's
Patrick
he-
Wilson.
No, that's not Black Manta.
Wasn't that Black Manta?
No, Black Manta was what's his name? He was the African American guy. That's Black Manta. Oh my God, why am I drawing a blank on his name? Because he was great
Johnny
in the
Houston?
first Purge. his character is my favorite character in the Purge movies. No, what is this? Let me look it up real quick because it's going to drive me crazy if I don't know what it is.
Wait, Patrick Wilson was who again in that?
It was his brother. What's his name? King Orn.
That's right, King Orn. Thank you.
I hope I don't ruin this, but it's Yahya Abdul Mateen 2.
Okay.
He's my favorite character in the first Purge. He was awesome, and he was such a badass. I'm like, this dude should be in more action.
The
movies.
soldier?
Yeah, and he was well, he was a soldier, but he was the drug kingpin.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
He was the badass. I went to
Yeah.
I just
You mean the movie The First Purge?
yeah. Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
I keep thinking you're
I'm
talking
sorry.
about the first Purge movie.
No,
in
I'm
which case,
sorry.
yeah, I was like, wait a
I
minute.
should have clarified. That was stupid of me.
Boy, they are confusing.
No, he was so good in that movie, The First Purge.
Yes.
The fourth movie, I think it was. That I woke up to him, and then when I saw that he was in Aquaman, I was really excited. He was playing Black Manta, and I'm like, all right, I can't wait for this.
Right.
And he was great, and he was the only thing that was great in that movie.
See, I think everything had moments of greatness in that movie. I think overall, once again, fell short. It went the full DC route, and it went back to a 5. Like every other DC movie has done, it went back to a 5. Because Dawn of Justice, Batman vs. Superman is a 3 to me. Then you get all the way out to, the Dawn of Justice is the Super Friends or whatever, when they all get together, right? And
Justice League was the one with that.
Justice League, yeah. So that was a 2. Because I was miserable with that, because I didn't like any of the characters except Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman was the only character who played.
Yeah, but
the only one.
But her movie was taken so seriously and put together right. And then I watched something like Captain Marvel, and I'm like, you're basically with this movie telling me like, this is like Wonder Woman, but Marvel. And I'm like, no, it's not. I was like, you can't muscle me in on this. Like, Wonder Woman is a good movie that took it seriously. This is a movie that doesn't take itself seriously. You're just saying it took itself seriously and that we should respect it because as a female lead. I'll respect any movie it has if it has a good actor. I don't care if it's male, female, whatever. A Dog's Life or a Dog's Journey or whatever it is a good movie. And that's all about the dog. I will respect it if there's a good performance in it. It just wasn't well put together. Now, Brie Larson's not a bad actress. She's very good. I mean, you can't watch, Room and not think that.
Yeah.
Like, you're an idiot if you think she's a bad actress. It's just not possible.
But do you think she's a fighter pilot?
She could be, but she wasn't written well or directed well as a fighter pilot.
I think that's the biggest part, is do you believe she is what that character is supposed to be?
No.
I believe Gal Gadot is Princess Diana. You can't tell me she's not. I believe Anne Hathaway is Catwoman. You can't tell me she's not. She is a version of Selena Kyle that I 100% I'd buy. There are a lot of characters like that I'd buy. Henry Cavill, he is Superman. You can't tell me he's not. He was fantastic. I loved his character. Whatever DC has done when they put all of these characters in the same room just literally explodes and falls apart.
They never got I don't think they ever I liked Henry Cavill as but he just because I liked him doesn't mean he was a great Superman.
Oh, no, of course
good.
not.
He was fine.
But listen, they had enough pieces to move forward with something good.
They screwed up Superman first. Because Superman...
Well, that's fair.
But the reason being is what he got to at the end of Justice League is what he should have been, just the world didn't see it.
Yeah, fair.
And I understand the struggle. He's always struggling, but this is who he is.
Yeah.
So he is this guy who realizes, no, I'm always going to choose to save and be this hero. Not police, not be a god, nothing like that. I'm just this guy who is here as a protector. And he is that wholesome guy. That's who he is.
Yeah.
And down to his core. And then he has internal battles because it's like, but I could just end it all. Kill these villains and be done. But I can't do that because that's not who I am.
Right.
So I love that, and I love that part of Superman. And he could have played that really well. They didn't make those movies.
That's the problem. They didn't make those movies. Zack Snyder didn't come through with those movies.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff was shoehorned where you should never have dreamt of shoehorning some things in.
But
And I
that's
will
what-
not come out and say that on air.
That's what Captain Marvel was for me.
See,
Captain
and
Marvel was shoehorning. She was as believable a fighter pilot as Tom Cruise is.
See, and I thought Tom Cruise was a believable fighter pilot.
When?
But in Top Gun.
Are you kidding me?
Have you ever met a fighter pilot?
Not Maverick. Come on. Come on.
No,
The more
seriously,
believable
those
fighter
guys
pilot
are
in that
straight
was Val
boys.
Kilmer.
Yeah, exactly the same.
Not Maverick.
All talking about their dongs, humping chicks, and flying balls
Fine,
out.
I'm talking
Like,
about an actual fighter pilot,
Right.
as in part of a team. He has a wingman. He takes that seriously. This is
No, that is
takes
true.
orders.
Okay,
things like
that is true. They did legitimately name him Maverick and make him the guy who doesn't work with other people when the entire point of the military is to work with everyone around you, and that's how you get better. So,
Like
yes.
I don't care about the Captain Marvel character, Carol Danvers. I don't mind that she's a fighter pilot, but if you're going to tell me that she had to fight her whole life to become a fighter pilot, she can't be at the top of her game. Like, she can't have the job because that's not what it was back then. But she's going to change things. She didn't change things. She was at the top of her game. She was the best fighter pilot. She wasn't. Okay, it doesn't feel like you're fighting the times.
See, no, I understand that, and I get that idea, but then I think they kind of wrapped that story up saying, yeah, she was at the top of her game, but she was a woman, she wasn't allowed to go fight. That was the whole point. So her and her other fighter pilot buddy, they were both working with, I can't remember the actress's name, it's going to kill me, Annette Bening. So they were working with her.
Yeah, test pilots.
Yeah, they were test pilots. So, yeah, no, it fits. You know, test pilot, okay. And I think that fits for the Carol Danvers side. And honestly, it was kind of weird because I also felt like Ryan Reynolds would have been up there flying with him. And we could have had Green Lantern on one side of the
That's
shore.
how believable she was. That's how believable she was. She was as believable as Green Lantern.
I 100%. You know, I 100% agree with you, and I actually am still bitter to this day that Green Lantern got as much flack as it did. I don't care that it's a 4. I love it. It can be a 4 all day. I love it. It's one of those movies. It's great.
It just wasn't. It wasn't taken seriously, in my opinion.
I
It
get
was
it,
like,
yeah.
I think they sacrificed taking a serious movie with you have a great actress playing a great role that's going to go on and do great things and take over, essentially take over the Avengers.
Yeah.
And you were more worried about making the movie woke than making a good movie, and I hate that.
That's fair. No, I completely understand
You
that.
can
I've had
make a
a
woke movie that is good
Yes.
if you focus on the good.
Exactly.
And I'm fine with that. I don't care if what you were telling me. I don't care what message you're trying to get across to me, as long as you make a good movie behind it.
Get Out.
Boom.
Boom!
Right there. Oh my God.
It's perfect.
And it's a horror movie, so I love it.
Yep. Managed to tie it right back.
Yeah. A completely woke movie
Yep.
that makes you think.
Yep.
And
But you don't, like, the crazy thing is, that was one of those few movies that has had me locked into the point, and this is what Jordan Peele does very well, and I actually really love him, because it's that Rod Serling effect, where they kind of just, they mundane you in. They mundane you in, and they mundane you in, and before you know it, it's too late, and you're indoctrinated, and you're part of whatever this story is. And it's
Yeah.
scary, because you can't get out.
well,
And I
it's
think
all the
that's-
subtleties you pick up on. That's why
Yes.
I like Us as well.
Which I still haven't seen. I don't know why I waited so
definitely
long to see that.
Watch that before Halloween, because I would
Okay.
like to talk about that.
I'm in.
I definitely want to get your feelings on
That might be a good dinner and movie night. I think I might do something like that this week.
I like it. I dig it.
Although it's not as exciting as what else we have on this week.
What's this week?
Tuesday night.
Oh my God.
We have the greatest event, and I have to talk about it beforehand because
That's fine.
we need to do a show immediately following. I feel like.
Oh, you want to come back here and do a show?
I would like that if that's cool with you.
I think that works.
Okay,
Unless we
cool.
get invited out to hang out. Joe.
Well, we're hanging out with Joe Bob. Are you kidding me?
All right. So like, I'll send afterwards. Like, we'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
I'll send Mary home.
Okay.
I feel like it. Unless she wants to hang out.
Yeah, whatever.
But like, try and like talk to Joe Bob a little bit, and
Yeah.
then come home. And yeah, no,
you were
I
literally
like
just.
it.
This is
I
going to be
have
the first.
goosebumps. I have
This is going to be the
goosebumps.
first 5 minutes of that show. Just.
He's signing
just
my book.
squealing. Oh,
I want
my
him
God.
to sign my favorite article.
I want him to sign "Hail to the King, Baby" shirt. My "Hail to the King, Baby" shirt. I want him and because.
Why?
So it's important for me because that was one of the first times I saw Army of Darkness.
Oh, on a
It
show.
was on Monster Vision.
Okay.
So like Monster Vision is really what tied me into all of this. This is what built our friendship as children. Was Monster Vision for me.
That was
Like
one
you
of
had
the
the
big
other ones.
go-to.
You had Svengoolie. You were a little more into the
I didn't have
Elviros.
Svengoolie. I found Svengoolie older.
Oh really?
Yeah, you told me about Svengoolie when I
that's
moved
right.
here.
Yeah.
You were like,
crap, I
dude,
forgot all about that.
You
Yeah.
were like, oh, because I was always
The
talking
Nick
about
and
horror
Night guy.
hosts.
Yeah.
And we would talk
That's
about
right,
Joe
yep.
Bob, and you were like, dude, you should check out Svengoolie.
Because I watch some of Svengoolie, and also Monster Madhouse is another fun one every once in a while that I check out.
It's so out there. But
I know, it's really out there. But
Svengoolie is goofy, but I love it. I think it's great.
Elvira was always classic because I didn't even know Elvira had a show where she hosted horror movies.
Movie
I
Maker.
had no idea.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know about her until almost 5 years when I was almost done with Joe Bob. I think he was actually getting canceled at the time I learned about Elvira.
2000 he got canceled.
Okay, so yeah, it was right around that time because I would have been 12 in '95. So that was it. That was when I started watching.
No, he was heating up in 95. That was off the heels of Casino.
Okay, then that's when I was
They were
watching.
still doing horror movies.
Yeah.
They were still
Yep.
doing like the cult movies.
I love that, man. I love his Monster Vision. But Monster Vision for me is really what drew me into everything. And I mean, between They Live, which is one of the greatest things I watched him do,
Mhm.
it was him hosting that. Return of the Living Dead, always one of my favorites. And him hosting that made it even better. You know, Maximum Overdrive, my favorite Stephen King movie really is Opus Dei. I think we can all agree. It's the greatest Stephen King product ever,
Of course.
Maximum
I
Overdrive.
mean, why wouldn't we say that?
But
I mean-
fools would only believe otherwise.
I mean, The Shining or nothing, but
What? The Shinnin? That's
you want to get sued?
you don't get me sued, boy. So yeah, Joe Bob, Tuesday. Super excited. Thank you,
Oh, my God.
thank you, Psycho Cinema. This is once again Psycho Cinema
Cinema.
putting a lot of stuff together that we will absolutely pimp all day.
Dude, get them movies. Start sponsoring their stuff. They're awesome.
Because this is phenomenal, and I cannot wait to meet Joe Bob Briggs.
I can't
It
imagine.
is going to be so cool. I mean, he inspired you to be a writer, and he inspired me into a genre.
Yeah,
Like he brought me.
yeah, you
ushered
definitely
me.
bring your moderating and with the podcast and stuff, and like we've been doing this a lot of years.
Yeah.
So just because it's a new show, we have 2 new shows now.
Yes.
Make sure you check out on Wednesday the 20-minute wrestling, the Snobs 20-minute wrestling podcast for all you wrestling fans out there. Jesus, I can't believe we came up with our own show 20 minutes.
just randomly bumbled into it.
I love it. I am super excited to meet Joe Bob. So let's save it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I want to get into something else real quick before
Yes.
we wrap up the show. But okay, if you wanted to do a show afterwards, if we're not hanging out drinking with Joe Bob, yes, we can do a show
Okay,
afterwards.
cool.
Or we could just do a drunk show after that.
I say we do a
The
drunk
Joe-
show
the
after
Joe
that.
Bob drunk special.
Where do you
Last
sleep?
call. Last call with Joe Bob. Get him on the show. Joe Bob.
Joe
You're
Bob.
drunk. We got a podcast. Come and talk to us.
If we have them laughing the whole time, we might. You never know.
Well, we got to be on our A game. Man. So
I mean, I wouldn't mind taking her camping.
oh my god, that is so. Oh my god, still the best line in movie history.
It's one of my favorite lines I've ever seen in my entire life, and I'll hold on to that line forever, and we will still not know what.
Who is she? I wouldn't mind taking her camping.
What? His wife? I don't know about that. Yeah, she's all right. I wouldn't mind taking her
I can't
camping.
even tell you the movie. It was like
Nope.
this. It was like Dr. Something and the Swamp Peoples from the '60s.
Yeah.
So out there. I loved it though.
But being able to fly a plane right into a bar.
Right next to a bar. It was like
What?
the front door.
Yeah, sorry, you don't fly
You didn't
into
the
it.
bar.
Yeah, fair.
But anyway, let's
That changes
segue
that
away from
dynamic.
Joe Bob. We should ask him about that movie though.
Yes, we should.
But no, what is it?
Oh,
We talked about Creepshow.
Creep Show.
And I want to, because we talked about Jordan Peele, Twilight
Yes.
Zone, touched down on that, I wanted to finish off with you having watched the first episode.
Yes.
I have now seen all 3.
So, okay.
I want to cover each one each week.
Yes, agreed. All right, well, let's start with number 1, because I am a
Yeah.
huge Creepshow fan. Creepshow for me was
Yes.
greater than Tales from the Dark Side.
That was
That
your
was
thing.
just, that's the era I came from, and those were the movies I saw more frequently.
Where I was more Tales from the Crypt.
Exactly. Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight is the only one that I ever held because I didn't watch Bordello of Blood. I didn't see a lot of the other ones.
Don't tell me.
But Creepshow was my jam. What are the demons or something?
Worse. Demons.
Haha, got him. But that Creepshow's fantastic. So this first episode came out, and I was really excited to watch it, and I was not disappointed one little bit. Now, unlike 3 from Hell, which I was kind of half washing, half folding laundry, half building a costume, half doing, it's like you're just torn away. Creepshow was the other way, where I was half doing something to start, and then immediately everything was put down after about 15 minutes in. I was into it. So they got me. They did a great job. They have pulled me in completely. and I cannot wait to go home and watch the second episode.
I can't wait for you to watch the second episode.
Because the second episode looks like it's going to ramp up and be just as good, if not better. So Shudder has been doing a fantastic job. I don't even know who's doing these. I need to find
Greg
it.
Nicotero.
Greg Nicotero, that's right. Thank
And
you. Yes.
Joe Hill is written for it.
Okay.
Stephen King is written for it.
Wow.
They're getting all these actors in there. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, look, the first episode, you have Adrian Barbeau, you have Tobin Bell, you have Giancarlo Esposito. Right there, that's some solid acting.
Dude, and having Giancarlo Esposito and Tobin Bell reminded me of that Poker Night movie. Like, because the sheriff's hanging out and having that conversation. So they got a lot of good... the atmosphere. The atmosphere was built perfectly.
Yes.
They did
building
that-
up the story the whole time?
Yes, just talking about the story, and then the old lady having the conversation with him, but he's my dad. You know, and like that twist that Creep show does.
Which hit you in the heart.
Uh-huh.
Because you're like, he said he would quit. And
He said he
like,
would quit, yeah.
This kid just believes his dad. It's his dad.
Of course.
And I didn't realize, I mean, it's a while back, but like, I didn't realize that was a Stephen King short.
Really?
Yeah, he wrote a short story called Gray Manor, which is very similar in
yeah,
vein.
exactly.
Because as soon as I saw it, I was like, all right, I got checked this out. I knew the book, but I didn't realize that that's what that was.
Yeah.
I didn't put the correlate.
Like they did that beautifully. Like I love that first, and the jump scare was what Creepshow was. It was as creepy in the atmosphere that it built as it was here's the hit, and the hit was quick, fast, 10 seconds, you're done.
Yeah.
Because now you've hit enough to go, oh wow, this isn't going to end.
Oh,
This
absolutely.
is like this is going on. So it was really neat. I really love that one.
But my favorite, and still my favorite out of all of them so far, is The Head in the House. The Head in the Room.
Yeah.
That
in the
dollhouse,
room. Whew.
which was, it's beautiful, man. It's a beautiful story.
Yeah.
And to think the real horror movie is what's going on with those
Inside of a
people in that dollhouse.
Yeah.
Like, you could tell a movie about that, but they told us a 10 or 15 minute short that is just as terrifying, just as chilling and thrilling and everything else, with this little girl just discovering these different rooms in the dollhouse.
Mm-hmm.
No context.
Nope.
Has no idea.
None.
Just knows that this little zombie head has something to do with it, and she keeps trying to fix it.
Dude, and my favorite part of that entire story, because when that little girl grabs that head, I'm going to ruin this. Sorry, guys. When that little girl throws it,
Spoiler alert.
yeah, spoiler, 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 when she throws it and says, get out,
Yeah.
and then realizes, 2 minutes later, like, I can't have that here. I have to get it out of my room, too.
Yep.
Brilliant. The reveal there, perfect.
Yes.
And you can even see it. You can see it coming a mile away, doesn't matter. It's
Yeah.
perfect. It's Creepshow. That's what Creepshow does. It tells you a tiny snippet, you see the story, you know what's going to happen, still creeps you out.
Yes.
Because it's the lead up to it. So you
It's
may
perfect
understand
point of
it in the
view.
first 2 minutes, but it doesn't matter because it's how you get there that matters. It's more the journey than the destination. And I think that's what Creepshow's always done really well.
Yeah.
Tales from the Dark Side, 50-50. I think they like to twist the destination, but they also they have a great time along the way, you know. So very, very similar cups of tea.
Yes.
It's still tea altogether, and I'm super excited to go home and watch that first Wolfman episode because episode 2 is the Wolfman, so we'll see what we get out of it. And
It's a really cool World War II wolf story,
Rad.
werewolf story.
Rad.
And the second one, I actually liked better, but I'm going
Okay.
to leave that open for you.
Yes, because I can't wait to
I
see
did
it.
love the first one. I love
Dude,
the
the first one was just a great intro. What a great way to say we're back.
third one was really good too.
And lest we forget, do you notice who that Indian is that she put in there?
No,
She put that little Indian, that Native American in there, right?
I remember.
Do you remember that in Creepshow?
Oh yeah, it's the wooden,
Indian.
the wooden Indian from Creepshow 2, right?
Yep, Creepshow 2.
Yeah,
With the gas station Indian.
yep. You know who that was?
No.
So what's his name on Mindhunter?
Lou Diamond Phillips?
What are you talking about?
I don't know, I just like to say
I'm
Lou
so
Diamond Phillips.
confused because now I'm thinking about the
Now I'll just throw everything out of whack.
First Power. That's all I'm thinking about.
Thunder Ridge or whatever that was.
Oh my god.
Thunder.
No, Mindhunter's the TV show.
Yes. Which one? Oh, the detective.
Yeah,
The FBI agent, the older one.
yeah, the old one.
Yeah. I
He
remember,
was
yep,
so
yep. He was a Creepshow character, which is why I love seeing him.
It's
in
great,
that.
show. We could analyze that show forever.
Oh yeah, that Mindhunter's phenomenal.
But I will say, Creepshow it's like I said, the Head in the Room is my favorite one so far. It's either Head in the House or Head in the Room. I feel so unprepared.
Today we're a little out
of it. I'm up all night watching movies.
Exactly.
You're
I'm all over the place.
Camping. Like it's crazy.
Putting together costumes and whatnot. So it's been a wild week. So, but yeah, fortunately, we managed to power through the important things we wanted to discuss this week and hit our main topics.
I do want to touch back. I want to start a new trend of this.
Okay.
At the end of every show, I want us to recommend a movie that we both seen, we both like.
Okay.
That is maybe a little more obscure, somebody hasn't seen, or it could be big, but like why we
haven't seen it in a while, maybe something like that. Yeah.
And I think you touched down on it perfectly. This week's recommendation for any, especially horror fans, but just good, chilling or thrilling a movie, a good thriller. Watch Poker Night.
Yeah, Poker Night, if you have not seen it, it is legitimately one of my favorite atmospheric tales. The way they go through and use the camera work's phenomenal. The atmosphere is wonderful. Use of stories in the story is one of my favorite things. Whenever you can do that, you have tied me to two characters now. The person telling the story, person receiving the story. And in this case, that just builds. They compound on that.
Yeah.
And that is a really fun little trope that I don't think is used enough because it goes back to the Kung Fu master, the one who was always taught, the one who taught the one who needs to use that same knowledge. So it's really well done, and I highly recommend Poker Night. Is definitely a way to go.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think this is a pretty solid place to stop.
I agree.
Listen, anybody listening, send us. Just follow us. Let's talk about
yes.
Our
please
Instagram.
follow us right now. I am
like
currently Instagram at Plotmas21, I believe.
Yeah.
So hit me up there. I will be starting the Commander and Geek shortly. Once I do that, we'll have all that information up for you, so you can follow, you can like us, you can belittle us and put us down as much to your heart's content. Whatever you feel is good.
All right, so you can follow me at the Scene Snob on Twitter, at the Scene Snob on Facebook, and at the Scene Snob on Instagram. There will be plenty of updates coming up. Every Monday is a new episode. Check us out on YouTube, SoundCloud, and soon to be Stitcher. And pointless to do iTunes because they're going away. So we'll just stick with those three for now. But definitely check us out. The channel is the Scene Snob channel on YouTube. And that's it. And also Wednesday, check out our brand new show.
Brand new!
The Scene Snob 20-minute wrestling podcast.
Oh, yeah!
So if you're a wrestling fan, check that out. We definitely are going to get into some things.
We think you'll be big fans if you check it out. So get on over to the show every Wednesday.
That is a cocaine-filled promo if I've ever heard one.
Oh, yeah!
Good night, everybody.
Good night.